As someone who's become very accustomed to granular modules, I found having to add each module to the settings.gradle file to be a mild annoyance and figured there'd be a simple way to get around that. This video essentially boils down to a snippet you can add to your settings.gradle file to auto-include all Gradle modules present in your project. If you need nothing more to convince you, then follow the link to the gist in the description. The rest of this video is simply discussing how this works. We're starting here with a fresh project created in Android Studio. The only change I've made is to convert the settings.gradle file to Kotlin script, since using that makes writing this functionality easier, at least for myself, and I personally use Kotlin script for all my Gradle files and new projects. When we decide to create a new module, we can use the built-in wizard. When doing this, our settings.gradle file is updated automatically with this new module. Great! However, in larger projects, it's possible that you're not creating modules via the integrated new module wizard, but rather with scripts that you've created that take care of some specific logic you define for your company or personal project. Using a script to create new modules is a great way to save yourself and/or your team time by removing boilerplate. We aren't going to dig into the script I'm using in this video, though I do have a video going over one I use in my own projects. I'll put a link in the description for that. Let's create a module with this script now. After the module is created, running Gradle sync will result in no changes, even though we have a new build.gradle file in our project. This is obvious at this point, and it's because we didn't add the include statement for the new module. For an app with a few modules, this isn't a big deal. But as your nesting gets deeper, like it would in a monorepo, having to add include statements that potentially have 3 or 4 or even more parts to the module name is less than ideal. By adding this code to your settings.gradle file, you'll never have to manually write an include statement again. Let's walk through it. We start with a mutable set of strings that represents each target that needs to be included. We can save some time by skipping directories that we know won't have any Gradle modules. And then the fill module functions is where all the logic happens. We take in a list of files and the target path. This target path will change as we walk deeper into the project's directories. If we find a build.gradle file, we know we're in a module and can add the current target to our set. Otherwise, we keep walking down the file tree. Eventually, we found all targets that have a build.gradle file, and we can simply loop through them and include each one. After we create some new library modules with our script, we can run a Gradle sync and they will be part of our project. We can even move them into a nested directory, run sync again, and the module is updated in our project as expected. So let's think about some potential downsides. When testing the performance on a project with 86 modules, I noticed no significant impact using this approach. Finding the modules took a few hundred milliseconds, sometimes up to a second, depending on the mood my MacBook was in. But other than that, everything else was the same. Both from clean builds, incremental, there was no difference. I'm curious if anyone else has any thoughts on potential downsides of this strategy. If so, let me know. What about selective includes for partial project generation? A common strategy in large monorepos is to only selectively include the modules that you need to do the work you're doing at the time. If you're using that approach, obviously you already have something that's managing module includes, so I wouldn't say that this is a downside to that approach. You just probably wouldn't be using this strategy. This may seem trivial, but as someone who has a deep addiction to side projects and granular modularity, this is one of my favorite small quality of life changes that I've done. Coupled with the script to generate modules that I cover in another video, these two just go great together with speeding up adding a module. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next video.